So here are my top tips to consider when shopping for your wedding dress. Number one, do your homework. Have a little look around at social media, look on your shop's websites, anything that might help you get a good idea of the type of vibe that there is in any particular shop, the type of designers that they stock. Also, look at the designers, look at their websites, have a look at their dresses, and really do a little bit of homework so that you know that the time that you spend in the shops that you choose is actually going to be working in your favour and not sort of quite depressing when you get there and thinking, oh, I can't afford any of this, or I don't like any of these styles. So, you've been on the shop's websites, you've had a look at their social media accounts, and you've decided, yep, I found a few shops that are for me. Next thing, do a little bit of research on the prices as well before you travel to those shops. So if the websites actually show the prices, brilliant, because that's done your work for you. If not, just do a little feeler, maybe call the shops that you're going to go and visit. Ask for particular dresses. You may have seen them on their website or seen them on the designers' websites. Just check the type of price point so that, again, when you get there, there's no nasty surprises. When you're considering looking at different bridal shops, another good tip is to keep local. So I know that sounds a bit weird to say, but if you have 3 or 4 shops within a small area, you will find that those shops will carry significantly different labels. If you decide to buy or to go to one town and then travel to another town that's quite a distance away, you'll just end up seeing the same dresses. And that's because every designer will offer their retailers a specific area of exclusivity. So some of the big labels will be really quite a big area, and some of the other smaller labels, they might have a smaller area. So you can see if you stay close, you're going to most likely see lots of different labels, whereas if you go town to town, you're going to see the same group of dresses every time you go. So you've stalked the website and the social media and you've decided you want to make an appointment in a particular shop. I know that it's very easy these days to go online, or lots of shops have a booking system online, and that's great if you're very short of time and you just want to click, click, click and do that way. That's great, but my advice would be to actually call the shops that you would like to visit. You will see then whether or not they're actually joining up their social media and their websites with their customer service. And however much they tell you online that their customer service is fabulous and fantastic and they've won lots of awards, until you actually get to speak to a human on the phone, you won't really know whether or not they're carrying that forward. So the best thing to do is phone if you can and speak to somebody. They will also then be able to check their diary with you at that point, and it becomes much easier for you to find an appointment, especially if you're looking maybe for a tricky appointment or something that's a little out of hours, or a VIP appointment, lots of things that may mean that you can't book them online. So when you're making your appointment, one other really big question to ask, apart from can you see me, is what sizes are the samples that that shop will have on their rails. Some designers work better with smaller frames, and some designers are more inclusive across different sizes and different frames. So if you have a particular designer in mind, you might find, if you don't ask this question, that you get to the shop and all of those dresses will be in very small petite sizes, because that particular designer is designing for that frame in mind. So to not fall into that trap, just check that the shop has got plenty of samples in more or less the street size that you wear, but don't get too hung up about it, because there are ways of means of getting everyone in just about everything. You just don't want to have that nasty surprise when you get to the shop and find that everything you try on is too small for you. So you've made your appointment, yay, and you're all geared up to go and have a look and try and find your wedding dress. Next thing to consider is who you're taking with you. Now, I know we've all seen lots of different programs on the television, Say Yes to the Dress is one of them, where there's a big crowd of people around you, all cheering Team Bride, and it's wonderful. The reality is, and we see it all the time in Bellissima, that when you have a large group of people with you, you also fall foul to lots of different opinions. Which is fine if you have no opinion at all and you're guided by everything that everybody else says, but let's face it, you chose your fiancé on your own. probably. And the chances are that you knew exactly who you liked and who you didn't. Inside you, it's the same for a wedding dress. So make sure that the people that you bring with you are small and very trusted. You can always bring a larger crowd once you've chosen your dress. If you want to include all your bridesmaids in choosing something for your wedding, why not consider afterwards booking another appointment with the same shop where you're going to choose your veil and your tiara or a headpiece, and they can be really helpful then with giving you advice, tips, what they like, what looks great from the back, what looks great from the front, and they will feel included. But you will have made the decision on your dress in a more calmer and clearer minded environment. Also, whilst we're talking about group sizes, check with the shop that you've booked in that they actually take that amount of people. So if you are completely convinced you need to take 5 people with you, just check that the boutique or the shop that you've actually booked takes that number of guests, because you may find that the smaller, more intimate shops can only accommodate 2, possibly 3 guests at a time. So make sure that you don't be that girl that turns up at the door with a group of girls and you can't get in, or somebody's got to go and sit round the corner or go to the pub because you just can't all get in the shop. Just make sure that everything is nice and clear and you've got all your ducks lined up before you actually make the trip, and then everyone's happy. The group sizes is extremely important at the moment because we are still working under some COVID regulations, and every shop will be operating differently. That's because the government wasn't that clear to us bridal retailers as to whether or not we were close contact businesses or just non-essential retail. So we've all had to interpret these rules and regulations to best suit our own businesses. So you'll find that larger shops that maybe have a lot of staff will ask you not to bring too many guests because that's a lot of people all under one roof. You might find that a smaller shop that is maybe just an owner that is doing the appointments and only one person in that shop, she might actually be able to tell you, yep, you can bring a few more people, because again, we're not got too many people all under one roof at the same time. Don't be disappointed if you're asked to wear a face mask. We should all be wearing face masks, and that's just the way it is for the moment. If these things are going to, or you think they're going to spoil your enjoyment of buying your dress, then leave it until after the 21st of June. Especially if you're getting married next year, however desperate you might be wanting to get out and get your dress now, just leave it a little while longer. Once those rules and regulations have changed and we're back to some more normality, then go out and find your dress then, and then you won't have any of those things to cloud your experience. Whilst we're on the subject of experiences, don't forget that actually shopping for your wedding dress is a life experience. You are creating yourself a life experience, whether or not you like it and whether or not you think you are, you truly are. So make sure that you have done your homework, make sure that the places that you go to are the type of places that you feel comfortable in, and then all of your experience to finding the one will be a lovely one and something that you will remember for the rest of your life as a positive and life-enhancing experience. So, you've made your appointment, you've stalked the shop, you know this is the shop for you, you think it's wonderful, you've spoken to someone on the phone, you've looked at their website again, yep, this is for me. Next thing, how do you feel when you open that door and you're greeted for the first time by your stylist and you've walked into that premises? Do you feel comfortable? Does it smell nice? Does everything look how you expect it to look? If it's the right shop for you, again, this will all the dots will be joined up and this will be a seamless experience for you. If there's something that's disjointed when you come in, this could be because maybe the part of their social media or their website is all singing and dancing, and when you actually come into the shop, something's lacking. Again, that's not the end of the world. They may still have the dress for you, but just start to actually log these little things, because these are all things that will make a big difference if you do end up buying your dress from that shop. If there's something that's making you feel a little hesitant, or something that the way that you've been spoken to, something isn't quite right, don't forget, you're going to have a relationship with this business for possibly the next year, 2 years, who knows, for however long it is until your wedding actually comes round. So you want to make sure that you are especially comfortable when you enter those premises and when you're talking to your stylist and anybody that works in that shop. Next thing, do not worry about your size, please, or your weight, or whether or not your hair's done, or whether or not your underwear's matching. For us, as long as you've got underwear on, that's the most important thing. The rest can all be sorted out at a later date. It's especially important for us women to understand that it doesn't matter what size, shape or colour we are. We are all beautiful in our own way, and a wedding dress, the correct wedding dress, will help you feel and achieve that superness. You really don't need to have any more than a great dress and maybe your hair done nicely to feel absolutely wonderful. Seriously, do not get hung up about your weight. I cannot tell you that enough. Some of the most beautiful brides that we see walk through Bellissima's doors are nowhere near the size that you would see in a magazine, and yet they're the ones that look absolutely splendid and wonderful on their wedding days. So please, 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 just park that thought. We have seen it all. We've seen all shapes and sizes, all bridal retailers have. We are not here to judge you. We are here to find your dress to make you feel absolutely wonderful. We are enablers. We're people. We love to make it wonderful for you. Let us do that and you'll be in safe hands. So it's a Saturday and you've got 3 appointments. That's great. Well done. You've gone to the first one and you've tried on a few dresses, and yep, you like some, not so much others. But you've decided you tried on, let's just say you tried on a ball gown and you hated it. And why did you hate it? You thought you were going to love it. It's been the dress of your dreams since you were 5. You've put a ball gown on, you've come out and thought, I look fat and frumpy. Nobody wants to feel fat and frumpy on their wedding day. So you say to the stylist, no, I don't want to look at ball gowns. And she, following your suit, says, fine, don't look at any more ball gowns. Let's look at other things. You get to the end of your appointment. You've found some things you quite like. And you've gone away thinking, oh, what a pity. I really thought I was going to like a ball gown, but it didn't suit me. Do not panic. There are many styles and many cuts to each style. Most likely you just didn't get the right designer or the right cut for that style. So what you need to do is reset, go to the next shop thinking, let me see what other ball gowns there are out there. Because depending on your length of body, there will be a ball gown for you, and you probably just ended up with the wrong body length. So don't just think that because one dress looked pants on you, that the rest of the thousands of millions of dresses that are like that in the world are going to look the same. If you have a vision of yourself in something, just be a little bit more picky about how you find it. Explain to the next stylist that you see exactly what it was that was the problem, and she will be able to solve that for you. It might even be, now you know this, that the first stylist you could say, look, I really feel that this is making my hips stick out. Have you got anything with a longer bodice? Or if it's making you all body and no leg, have you got anything with a shorter bodice? You may be being served by a lovely stylist that's on her first day and she doesn't know that. So how great for you as a customer to be able to give her a little bit of feedback as well, and then it's a two-way street. On the subject of feedback, it's great when everything's going great, and we all love to love. And we also love to jump on social media when we're not happy with something. And that's great, that's our absolute human right to be able to do that. We all want to tell someone when, we had a bad time there, or don't do that, or I didn't like this. But equally, we should celebrate when things go right, don't you think? And so how lovely it is at the end of a day, maybe a Saturday when you have gone round and done these appointments, that you jump online and just as quickly as you would maybe criticise something, you actually write a few kind, nice words. Stylists are human. They come into that job every morning wanting to help their brides. They wouldn't do that job if they didn't want that. Nobody goes into bridal retailing not liking people or wanting people to have a bad time or wanting to be rude to people. But we are all human, and that's why when we get negative feedback, we totally get that. With any shop worth their salt would look at that, action it, thank you for that feedback and move on. Great. But just as equally, think about that poor stylist who's done 4 appointments that day. She's found some lovely dresses, high-fived, yeah, there's been tears, and she goes home. She might get some feedback from her manager about what a great day, but what about her customers? How lovely it would be for you to be the person that goes onto that shop's social media or onto their website or somewhere and just goes, you know what, I had a great day. Even if you didn't find the dress there, how lovely to know that you will have made somebody feel absolutely great on that Saturday night, and they'll just pour a little glass of something fizzy and just point it in your direction and say, thank you. How great would that be?